And I'm gonna go live on Facebook. Hopefully. I am still waiting for a couple people.
Is this the meeting where Westerville Schools representatives were going to be present as well?
Yes.
All right, cool. Look forward to hearing from them.
All right, we are live there.
Is Mike gonna be here tonight?
No, I have his report.
And I trust you saw that Council President Wolf will not be able to attend.
Yes.
Awesome.
And my computer is too loud, so I'm turning it down. All right, so we are good to go. So tonight is April 12th, 2021 council meeting. Let's start with roll call and let's get this show on the road. All right. We already know Council President Wolf is not here. Okay. Councilperson Bruger,
Here.
Councilperson McNamara,
Present?
Councilperson Benedetti,
Here.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Here.
Councilperson Curl.
Here,
All right. And then let's go straight to our meeting minutes. March 8th, 2021 council meeting minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at them?
Yeah.
Do we have a motion to approve March? Actually, can we do them both at the same time? And March 22nd, 2021 meeting minutes? Or do we need to separate them?
We have to separate them.
Okay, March 8th, 2021 council meeting minutes. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstentions? All right. March 22nd, 2021 council meeting minutes.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we're good on that. We're gonna move straight to, all right, for some reason I thought Eric wasn't here. We're gonna move straight to Westerville City Schools. Eric, if you want to introduce them, tell us why they're here. For everybody at home, I think we know why they're here, but if you want to start.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, members of council. This evening, the Westerville City Schools are here to request, this is an extension of the condition passed by Planning and Zoning Commission for the approval of their plan for the development of the site across from Hawthorne. The two items for your consideration this evening are both the parking conditions, which we'll talk about, and then the traffic mitigation. So there is a redesign that has been reviewed conceptually. I want to add that by myself and our engineers. And I have some comments from them for the purpose of the meeting. If you choose to approve this evening, it is recommended that you condition this approval upon the final review and approval, because there's obviously full engineering sets that have to be reviewed per your engineers and staff at that time. But I'll let them get to it and then we'll say further comments to that point.
So who's going to get to it?
The Westerville Schools.
Is there a person?
There are multiple people. I'll let them go ahead and introduce themselves.
Oh,
and-
whoever wants to go. Okay.
Oh yeah, we have lots of them here.
Okay.
There are multiples. So go ahead, whoever wants to lead the pack with Westerville, please continue.
so I'm Bob Gibson with Triad Architects.
I'm Jeff LaRose with Westerville City Schools.
Good evening, Mayor Hughes and councilpersons. I'm Scott Dorn with Westerville City Schools.
My name is Trevor Swanson. I'm with Triad Architects.
I am Jennifer Stockler with Osborne Engineering. Thanks.
So, Eric, do you have the plans that you want to bring up that we can just briefly go over the parking?
Yes, give me one quick second. That's a good point. I didn't know if you guys wanted to share. I'll be happy to share. So give me a second. I'll bring up Jen's plan and I will everyone. 1 second.
Sure.
Well, while Erica's doing that, is that, just to clarify, is it, are we discussing this particular item because it would be a like a variance or something that's not this parking issue? Is it an issue?
You're on mute.
So sorry, Dan, give me 1 second. I'll put it up and I'll go from there. 1 second, please. Let's not jump the gun.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry for the delay there. Thank you for your patience. You should tell me what everyone sees on their screen there.
I see a school outline with a
Perfect.
road and some parking arrows and whatnot.
Okay, good, good. I will let the Westerville folks take it from there. To quickly answer Diane's question, so this is a conditional approval. There are certain sections of the code that allow for council through motion to approve a joint parking area. So we're going to get to the parking discussion. And as part of that condition, traffic mitigation here may also be approved. So we'll handle this all in one joint motion when we get to it, but let them explain it, and then I'll jump in and we'll go from there.
Well, you're saying this isn't a variance we're doing right now?
No, absolutely not a variance. This is a simple motion vote. P&Z, as you recall, approved the overall plan in their meeting, conditioned upon council's approval of the parking and traffic items. And so this will be those items that are being discussed tonight.
So we're here because P&Z requested our input.
No, P&Z approved the plan conditioned upon your approval of these two items. So you are looking at now traffic mitigation, which in this case is improvements to Farview. There's a conceptual plan in which myself and the engineers in Westerville have gone over. All right, and I'll get to our comments. Westerville is going to present this to you, and there's a section of the code that deals with the parking request. It is not a variance, and I will discuss that. And then these will both be jointly approved or not approved by council at this stage.
Well,
so one at a time.
Let's hear it.
Okay. The very first thing that we're seeking approval on is joint parking. We have, there's a couple of, there are a couple of issues, or there are a couple of opportunities, excuse me. One is, this is a partial funding through the state of Ohio. And with that partial funding obligation, we do need to design this to be a LEED Silver building. In order to get a LEED Silver building, it has a it has a parking on-site limitation to the number of spaces that we are showing currently. We are proposing, and the number of spaces that we have work absolutely fine. When we look, they rival every other Westerville middle school parking on site. Most of Westerville City Schools middle schools are laid out similarly adjacent to an elementary school, either right across the street or right next to. What Westerville middle schools or elementary schools will do on occasion is they will use overflow parking from the other site during a special event. But the number of parking that we have for both schools is adequate. Please do keep in mind that the idea for Hawthorne, one of the whole reasons for doing the building program is because Hawthorne, the way it sits now, is very overcrowded. So we are reducing Hawthorne quite a bit. We're reducing it, and in the very first years, it will have far less than capacity. So parking for Hawthorne and parking for the middle school, we are seeking a joint parking arrangement. And then in order, do also keep in mind that the middle schools and elementary schools have pickup and drop off at separate times. And so the traffic itself is not overly impacted by the addition of the middle school to this elementary school and the other elementary school. Do keep in mind that the buses that essentially run to the elementary schools then go out and or they go to the middle schools first, drop off, then they go out and pick up elementary schools. So we're not adding any buses. There is about an hour difference between the drop-offs and pickups at the middle school and the elementary school site. The middle school is about an hour. It's an hour ahead of the elementary schools. Because of the traffic and because of the existing traffic situation on Farview, we have met with Eric and the city traffic engineer. And one of the things that they did suggest two things: widening Farview so that we can get a dedicated turn lane. So we'll have two lanes going north and south. And then in the center, we'll have a dedicated turn lane to where you can stack to go into both Hawthorne and to go into the new middle school site. The other thing that we did was we modified the Hawthorne north entry part, thank you, Eric, to align right across from the middle school. It also, it drops it down to the south, which gives us more stacking in the center line to come into the middle school. That's it essentially. Eric, did we miss anything?
No, I think to give a little history on this. So there's obviously multiple meetings between ourselves and the traffic engineer, whose name is Cindy. She's with Jacobs, and the Westerville team. So Mike was involved with this too, but this especially falls within another member of Jacobs' group. She was in charge of the review and comments. That's her expertise area. Initially, the way this lays out is that the current entrance for Hawthorne is over here. Okay, so we see where you can see where my cursor is. So it wasn't lined up, and as you know or may realize, it's best if we have intersections from a conflict standpoint, especially when we've got walking school children, we've got pedestrians involved. We want to have things that line up and defend the pedestrians against conflict of traffic, where we're going to have people out there. And as many of you have experienced who are residents, this area becomes a serious hot mess around pickup and drop off, right? So anytime that we go through these major redevelopments, we need to have improvements to the traffic flow. And that was part of the review by our engineers and myself of the traffic report and, examination of what the plans that Westerville initially wanted to do. We had some very productive meetings. And some of those comments come from learned experience in cases around the Central Ohio area and obviously within the Westerville school system themselves. They obviously know their systems. They know how they, what's important in these is how their staff and how they handle traffic flow items. And so their input is obviously important. And we generally speaking, from a planning standpoint, like to leave expertise to those uses and those people who know their systems and parking. Nonetheless, we understand as far as being, parents and users of school systems around the area, myself included, as well as other people who worked on the project, understand that things get difficult. One thing initially, just to let you know, initially these lanes in the middle, were proposed to be kind of open turning lanes, like what we tend to refer to fondly as suicide lanes. You see them where you can jump in there and turn either direction. And from experience, that's probably not the best use of lane, turning lane systems where everybody is a free for all in a Wild West situation, especially during school pickup and drop off. Our suggestion back was we need dedicated lanes with dedicated queuing that are easily directable and enforceable by obviously our police on site and by staff, that are working for the school system. So in this regard, you'll now see that these lanes are dedicated. They have been changed as far as intersection flow is concerned. And we expect this to be a significant improvement, especially with the addition of the middle school in both flow to and from both the, future, again, Hawthorne is going to be changed around. And I don't speak for the school system on what's going to happen in Hawthorne, but the primary elementary schools being moved down the street, but Hawthorne is going to be reinvigorated in some form under their plan. And so it'll be used again. So we want to make sure that when it does get reused and renovated, that obviously it flows nicely with how everything is working around it from a traffic standpoint. And lanes are clearly marked, designated, and so everything can be organized as possible. We never want to make a situation worse than when we go through a development process. And that's what I believe in front of you today is an improvement from the standpoint of where it is today with the addition of the middle school. And so that's what you see here. Additionally,
I'm trying to understand what's going on. So has our engineer seen what they're proposing to do?
Yes, Mike is not an expertise, and this is not his primary expertise. So he is assigned in Jacobs to another engineer whose expertise is traffic. And yes, her comments are that this is what we had talked about in the meetings, and that this is good from their standpoint. Well, again, we want to make sure that this is not a final plan. Okay. So when we approve this, if that's what council so desire to do, that we approve it with conditions that the final approval is based on the engineers and staff's final recommendations and approval. Okay. So this is, from the standpoint of traffic and parking, we want to make sure that conceptually you're good with what's being proposed. The other key item, and let me see if I can, when we talk about parking, what do you see on my screen right now? And I'll stop it.
This is going to combine the two things.
Okay, one second.
Parking and the road.
So one second.
Our engineer is going to look at that.
Yes.
Okay.
So what I've got in front of you is our code. And as I noted in planning and zoning, when we went through this already, that in 1282.04, okay, so generally speaking, our code allows for an interesting exception, which is why this is before you tonight, okay? All off-street parking and loading spaces shall be located on the same lot as the use to be served, except that the owners of two or more separate uses may establish a joint parking area to provide the total number of required off parking and loading spaces for all such combined uses, subject to the approval of council, and such conditions may be imposed by council. the way I read this is the school district owns both lots. They are adjoining owners, okay, within the same use areas. They may, at council's, approval, separate or combine, I'm sorry, those uses and the parking. Now, they know their business, and I find that their proposal here is acceptable. They're trying to meet their parking needs under their LEED certification. And so they already have an asphalted lot next door with different hours of operation and events. And they want to extend their ability of parking onto the other lots, okay? And so this is not something that's out of bounds within our code. It is allowed. Furthermore, I read such conditions as may be imposed by council to include the improvements to Farview, because those are directly related items. And so that is why you're reviewing, under my interpretation of this code, both parking and traffic at the same time. So you may impose conditions, and part of those conditions are the improvements to Farview as has been proposed. So that's what you're seeing in front of you today, and that's why you're seeing it. It can be approved on a motion vote, does not require an ordinance because it's already been in front of Planning and Zoning Commission. And that's where we're at.
Eric, on the site map, I don't see the intersection at 161 on there.
Well, 1 second.
I think it's off the page.
1 second.
While he pulls that up, just a question for the Westerville folk. So I counted, if I read the map right, 150 spots, parking spots at the middle school. And that's going to be more than enough then for normal daily car usage. And the addition, the fold over is just going to be for special events and whatnot. Is that what I'm sort of hearing here?
Yeah, that is correct. That
I
is
did the
correct.
graphic. So 1 second while we're talking, I'll pull that up.
I have a brief question for our Westerville and engineering folks as well, if there's a moment. I really enjoy this plan. I see no issues with it. My question is, would allowing the, I guess, double dipping of parking space use or the consolidation of these parking spaces, is there any prediction of this coming back to, bite us in the future down the road with expanded need for parking or anything like that? Or do we predict to the best of our ability that the parking spaces will remain sufficient into the future for a while anyway?
So I'll let Westerville jump to that, but what I'll simply denote in this whole thing is that we try to plan for as best we can, given the infrastructure and the needs at the time. Inevitably, I found with schools in different areas, there are surprises. So I won't, try to sugarcoat that. I think you should expect that there may be something unexpected, but.
Okay. Yeah, that's I guess what I was getting at.
So, and I said.
But I do think that, that's a great question. So the way the planning process works and what we've gone through is we have done a 10-year projection across the whole district. And so we've done distribution at the different buildings and at the different grade groupings across the 10-year projections. The reality is, what you've seen at Hawthorne over the years, we don't anticipate that will happen, because what you saw at Hawthorne was a building that got up to over 900 students in it because the district didn't have any other place, and the district grew up north. Right now, basically within the 10-year projection, there's really not very many opportunities beyond that 10-year projection for housing starts. Westerville City Schools proper is pretty much built out. And so we wouldn't anticipate that there would be additional need.
Wonderful, because I assume on a similar scale, the MI property becoming the old golf course becoming housing, puts us pretty well maxed out as well. So I guess.
That's
my
exactly
question-
right.
Yeah,
and
I love
in-
the idea. I just wouldn't want us to have, 2.5 years from now be completely overwhelmed, but as long as your projections are, 10 years out kind of level, that's much more comforting, much more reassuring. I thank you very much for your answer, sir.
Sure.
And I think we talked about this a little bit at our last meeting. We do have several scenarios that work this way today, as Bob alluded to. For example, Blendon Middle School on the south site. But the worst case scenario would be if we would have two large functions happening at both locations. And because, as we talked at our last meeting, because we control that, we can establish where that doesn't happen. We wouldn't have a major event at Hawthorne. At the same time, we would have a major event at the new middle school. So
Okay.
again, we get to control that.
Okay, it sounds like our I's have been dotted and our T's crossed sufficiently, looking into the future as much as one can. That's all I'd be concerned about. Thank you again, guys.
And could I just add one number change just so that the record is straight? Hawthorne Elementary's maximum student population was in 2019 at 770 students, not 900. There are 901 students who lived within the attendance boundaries that could have attended, but they did not all attend. Some went to other programs within the district. So 770 is about the cap there in terms of our historical building attendance, but also know that with the realignment plan that will kick in the fall of 22, Hawthorne's anticipated to have about 525 students. So a significant drop off in terms of Hawthorne students. And so parking goes right along with that.
All right, so that's going to be working well into the future on multiple accounts. That's good then.
And this might just be, I think I heard Eric wrong, or he might have said something he didn't mean to. Hawthorne's never going to spend a school year being vacant, is it? It's going to be continually used even as it gets upgraded.
Absolutely. We'll always have students in there.
Okay. I had a question about the Farview widening. Will that affect, we have a couple of residents there on the corners, and there's a business on the north end. I just wondered if they will be impacted or how they would be impacted.
Things should happen within the right of way, Diane.
Well,
And
yeah, I meant impacted. I didn't mean that. Will they be impacted because they have built things on the right of way? Just curious.
so, to be frank, the final engineering will determine that, and we will not, Jen, you jump in, but I think there's something still to be engineered as to what, from her question, need to be fully impacted or not. Whether we're not going to get, as you can see up here, we're not going to get into their parcels, right? So you can see how wide the right of way is up here. So there's plenty of room on any widening coming down before you get to the school's property to work with. Jen, would you?
Yeah, that's
And on the other end?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the other end, we'll be tapering back in. If you can, yep, we'll be
Yep.
tapering back in,
See the
and
tapering.
all the taper is accomplished within the right of way, as Eric mentioned. This hasn't been fully detailed designed. We basically had to go through the traffic study process to determine what would be required to then land on the fact that we would need this widening, but we haven't gone into detailed design with this plan yet. So what you're seeing here is kind of a schematic preliminary plan, and the details of how it tapers back in will be addressed in that final engineering.
So the one bus, I have a bus driver who lives next door, and so she always talks about that turn from Minerva Lake Road and the left-hand turn or the right-hand turn for that matter, because it's very tight right now. So are you saying this tapering would be allowing the bus more room to make that turn?
I believe we'd be tapering.
You're not
We'd be
addressing
tapering
that
back
at the,
in.
yeah, you're not addressing that at the bottom, correct, Jen? I mean, the tapering occurs right here, right? So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so that wouldn't extend all the way to the intersection now.
So we would get narrow, so as the current vision is that it would remain the same width at the actual intersection four-way at Minerva Lake Road going into Farview.
Yeah, if we do anything down at that intersection, you know, MI did a bunch of work around those 4 homes at the time that they, you know, improved the road.
Right.
If
There's
we
also a
do-
sidewalk there now.
Yes, anything we do down there, we're not, it's not the intention, Jen, again, correct me if I'm wrong, not the intention to do anything down at the intersection down here, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And how about the intersection north where 161? Is that,
We actually meet into where it's widened currently. Basically, there is the road widens to the north in order to accommodate the northbound left turn onto North on Plaza Drive. So we'll be meeting that width as we come in. So that area won't be widened any further than it already is today.
you know, the traffic comes down 161 going east at pretty high rate of speed, and it's level and then it goes downhill. So it's hard to see that intersection until you're right up on it.
So, Joe, if there's anything that needs to be done here, the engineers obviously will engineer it. If something needs to go to ODOT to further improve it, that will be a part of the plan, but I don't anticipate that anything major is going to be done north of Plaza Drive here.
Correct.
All those improvements were done when that configuration was completed. I think it was back in 2016. So we at this point, ODOT has weighed in on the traffic study, and they do not have any comment or desired changes for that intersection at North on Plaza and 161.
They don't plan to put up a sign or a flashing light that says school entrance or anything like that?
Got one now.
That was not discussed so far. Mm-mm.
So are we on to the move to approve?
Yes, Tony, thank you.
So, I make a motion that we move to approve Westerville City Schools proposal pending approval of our engineer.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Or do you guys want to do a roll call?
Please do a roll call.
Councilperson Benedetti. Oh, wait,
Aye.
hang on. Let me get my paper out. Okay, Councilperson Benedetti.
Aye.
Councilperson Trump.
Diane?
Yeah, am I muted?
Yeah.
I,
No,
oh,
no,
aye,
you're-
aye, yes, aye.
Councilperson McNamara.
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger.
Aye.
And Councilperson Curl.
Aye.
All right. All right. Does anybody have any other questions for them? I'm sure they're ready to get on with their evenings.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you guys very much. Greatly appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks,
you
Eric.
for the opportunity tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful night, everybody. Thanks for talking to us.
All right. Okay, while they're all logging off, we can get ready to start all of the village official reports. Chief, you're up first.
Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully everyone received the chief's reports. The only thing about the reports was that the records management system was being finicky and wasn't giving me the citation report in the format that you normally receive. I can tell you that you can see that the previous year's report, we wrote 50 tickets in March, and in previous March at the beginning of the pandemic, we wrote one. So that's about all I have. We did get our new vehicle. New vehicle has been on the road for a couple weeks, so it's out and about, and officers are reporting back that they like it very much.
Yay. All right.
Question. Chief.
Anybody?
I just, I'm sorry to say, just started reading these reports you put out, and I'm curious, are those numbers for the month on the report, or is that year to date?
That's for the month.
Just for the month, okay. All right, that's all I got.
And then Tony, I know you wanted to schedule a meeting. Do you want to do that like really fast, or do you just want to send an email, or?
I want to go in and talk to Chief probably.
That's fine. Okay.
Maybe I'll come in tomorrow.
Okay, we'll do that.
I had.
All right. I'm gonna move. Anybody else have any questions for Chief? All right, we're gonna go.
No major unusual events, nothing completely out of the ordinary since the last update.
No, the only thing that I would tell you is that there's something that may or may not be happening tonight at Cleveland and Schrock. Columbus was involved in an incident at St. Anne's Hospital today, and there's something that may or may not happen up there. We just got some intel just before the meeting that said that there might be some kind of a gathering, protest, I don't know, something up there at that area. So if you're driving around, you may want to avoid that area.
Okay. Thank you for letting the people know. That is appreciated.
That's very good to know. Did they say what time?
That's an odd place for a protest.
Well, I think it's going to move towards St. Anne's.
Right.
If I was
My daughter comes right through there between
if I was a
9 and-
guessing person.
Meeting in the parking lot.
Let me have to pull up the
I'm just gonna tell her not to come that way.
yeah, like 7:30. So now.
Oh, let's hurry up.
All right.
That's
Okay.
if anyone shows.
Exactly. Okay, let's go to Mike Flickinger's report. So like usual, I'm gonna read this to you guys. If you have any questions for me, let me know. But here is Mike Flickinger's update. The sanitary sewer improvement project, Insight did submit their post CCTV, which they have reviewed. And they are coordinating with Insight about a couple items that require some potential rework. So just an FYI, that means they're definitely checking it because there was something they didn't like. Task order number 14, Westerville City Schools, no changes from the last update. That was that. 2020 storm sewer improvement. Insight submitted their post-work CCTV information, which they reviewed, and they are coordinating with Insight about some potential rework. Task order number 16 is Village Engineer Services. They have prepared 4 potential task orders for the village to review. I have those. The additional task orders, I'm not reading his thing now, are and it probably says this, but it's if we decide to move forward on the road analysis, it's for him to do the analysis for that. The storm sewer CCTV, the sanitary sewer CCTV, and the last one is the basic engineering update. And actually that's probably in here, but he did send me 4 task orders. I am moving forward with 1. I'm not moving forward with the other 3 until after our streets meeting on Thursday, and that was at your guys' request. So they have prepared a scope of work for this year's CCTV program. That is all ready to go, assuming that you guys do decide to move forward having those done. So then the last part of the task order, the 4th one, that one is also going to include, they are coordinating with the city of Columbus for the storm sewers in the vicinity of Yasmin Market. And they're anticipating meeting with the city virtually in the next couple weeks. And I did see an email back and forth with Mike offering to even walk the property and walk the area to kind of see exactly what's going on in there. So just so you guys know, Mike is in communication. I told you guys that Saturday, but I just kind of wanted to say it live on here. We are in contact with City of Columbus about the extra water that's coming in here or not, who's responsible for what, and whose lines are whose. So They are working on that. And last but not least, task order number 18 is the 2021 storm sewer improvement project. I did see that there's some people watching this video right now that'll be interested in this. They have completed the review for the additional storm sewer information, revised their calculations, and revised the recommended pipe size for the replacement storm from Park Lane Drive to the North Lake. They have started to revise the plans based on the revised pipe size and will soon be starting design on the concrete head wall structure. So that's, if anybody has questions, great. But all I can tell you is that is still moving forward. They've determined the size that they need, and that is moving forward. And as soon as we have everything from him, we will put it out to bid. It's going to come back to you guys, hoping that we do get some bids, and you guys will determine how we move forward with that project. So right now, we're just waiting for the final information to get it out to bid. That's all I have for
There
Mike's
seems to
report.
be, there seems to be something entirely missing. And that is where the head wall is located with an increase in both pipe sizes. There's going to be an increase in the gallons per minute of water delivered into the waterway that goes from the head wall to North Lake. And Mike has said that he's never studied that.
Okay, all I can tell you is I can reread this again. They are working on the design. So as far as I'm aware, there's nothing missing because we don't even have his design yet. So until we get the design, I don't know that there's anything missing yet.
Joe,
So,
I know what you're talking about. There's still a possibility that in this new plan, that channel behind your house is.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there,
right. I think that's where I'm
Mike has
at. I don't-
never looked at that, and there's a question as to whether or not that channel can even handle the amount of water it's going to be delivered there.
Well, that's
Right.
because you're right, Joe, that he hasn't looked at that because they hadn't determined that it needed to be increased. Now they have, and that, we'll be talking about this again, Joe. And I
Okay.
know-
Well, and we're
Well,
going to be talking about it Thursday as well. So the
Yeah,
real
the-
quick answer is we don't have a design, so I'm not sure, he is looking at the head wall and that's where the water comes in. So my theory
Yeah.
would be that if we're talking about the head wall and how the water's coming in and the amount of water that's coming in, I would assume that that's going to be something that's in the design that we would be looking at. So
Yeah,
I don't,
was- Well, as you well know, the neighborhoods, so it's like someone stuck a stick in a bee's nest over here these days.
and that can be said for many different areas and many different things. I mean, there's a couple of projects and it's unfortunate that this is the way that it's come, but it's unfortunate that some of these projects have been let go. And you guys
Well-
are on council and you guys can all be the push forward to get these projects done. And that's what all of us has been working toward. So I will tell you that he is working on the design. And until we get that design, I don't want to say that there's something missing or not missing because we don't have the design yet. And that's what we're waiting for. So let's wait till he gets that and then let's decide if it's not what we're looking for.
We can talk about it Thursday night.
And then,
Well,
yeah, that's, and
I
yes,
don't
that's
want
gonna
to,
be a
certainly
conversation
don't
that we
want to
have Thursday.
belabor the point.
What's that?
Oh, I said I certainly don't want to belabor the point, but it does all tie into the North Lake too. So
Right.
we have different committees. I don't know where we merge these issues.
No, the streets is the committee that's going to deal with this particular project. In my opinion, the streets is exactly who would be dealing with this. And that is Thursday night. And we will be discussing those things. And I can see if Mike can get us any more information before Thursday, before we have that conversation. But at this point, there's nothing slowing that project down. I mean, council has already told us that we can move forward, getting anything and everything we can do. And right now, until we have a design, I can only assume that our engineer is designing it based on what we need. I guess that's how I'm going to say it. We don't, I don't think that's what we're paying an engineer for. So I give all of my faith in him that he knows exactly how he's trying to design the head wall and making it to where it's going to accommodate all of the water. So until it doesn't, we'll assume it does. All right, where am I at? Fiscal Officer, Leah.
Hello. I don't really have anything to report for the month, but I just wanted to let you all know that the financials should be updated on the website this week. I know they haven't been updated in a little while, so they should be updated this week. Also, since Brian's not here, I can let you know there's a finance committee meeting scheduled for Monday, April 19th at 5:30.
Yes. Awesome. Any questions?
Well, just, did you say March is closed?
I have not spoken to Kim yet about the month of March, but January and February are closed. So that I can definitely have up on the website this week.
Okay.
I believe the last month on there is December of 2020.
Well, I just asked because it's the 12th and usually things get closed pretty quick. You know, March would be closed by now usually. So that's why I was asking.
She said that she was working on that over the weekend and she should have it done sometime this week. That's what she said.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Let's move to Jesse.
I don't have anything to report.
All right.
Report.
He gets the award today. All right. Planning and zoning, Tony.
I don't have anything to report either because we didn't have a meeting. Moving right along.
Moving right along. All right. Eric's always got something. Eric, you're up.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Council, it's okay. So obviously we dealt with the Westville schools tonight. They'll be moving forward with the, I'm sure people start seeing construction come June, July timeframe. Obviously there, you can see the walls and everything on the elementary school coming right along. So that's proceeding. The only other item of main business this evening to talk about the MI approval of the conveyance on the agenda. So I'll take any questions if you like now or later. We did discuss it at the work session. And then I just want to state very happy with our new code enforcement situation as he has started this week and is making my life and everyone else's life much better in the village. And so his name is John Canty and he uses the old email. And so if anyone has anything or any questions for him, he's a very experienced gentleman and he'll be more than happy to take your emails and answer any questions. Appreciate it.
Is his email C Enforcer or?
Yes, I think it's MP.
Zoning officer.
Zoning officer, thank you.
Okay, zoning, all right.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody got any questions for Eric?
I don't know, just quick, since you said their construction in July, August, are they going to be going in and out from 161 only with their trucks?
Correct. That is absolutely correct. We don't want them going down, just as the elementary school is not supposed to be going down State Route towards State Route 3. They need to be staying on the main route off Farview, especially since it's going to be torn up and redone. That's best.
So do you think there'll be a time this year or during the summer where it might actually, Farview might actually close?
That is a very good question, Diane. And I don't have an answer for you with any luck. We would prefer, I don't know if it'll be this year. Let me put it to you that way. So they're going to time it out so that obviously it doesn't interfere with the school system. So I think it's a very good estimate that sometime, I would say by next summer, you could expect that there might be some major work on that roadway. But we'll get obviously for council's purposes and the public's knowledge, we will get the information once everything is fully engineered and scheduled out. I just don't have that right now.
Okay.
And just as an FYI, Diane, we did actually talk about that just the other day, about getting a no construction. And Eric, I don't know if we talked about it or you were on vacation, but we were talking about getting, apparently the construction people are turning the wrong way out of there. So apparently they have it at the end of one street, but either it was removed or something. They're not going that direction. So just remember Wednesday, we need to talk about that.
No
And then
problem.
we can order it.
That's easy enough. And I just need to, when we know this, we'll just let the supervisor on site know. They've changed supervisors recently.
Okay.
Let them know. I need to get on them anyways because there needs to be a street cleaning coming up. A little bit mud's piling up there on Farview, close to the site. So we'll get that all done.
So, and Diana, and that was on, I think, even a post that I saw that there was people asking about that. And I've had somebody ask me if we can get a sign out there. So we will make sure we get a sign out there. And then if we have to take the sign down because people have to go that way, that's a different story. But right now they shouldn't be going that way. So we will get that taken care of.
Are you going to be at the streets meeting Thursday, Eric?
Do you want me at the streets meeting?
I didn't invite him.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, normally I don't unless there's something that is this is pretty much, I believe, going to be street assessment talk and sewer talk. So I just didn't think that, I mean, if you want somebody else there, let me know.
I was just going to leave a question out if he was going to be there Thursday, but the question is the service road that goes parallel to 161 where the two schools are. You and I talked about that.
We did. What was your continuing question there for?
Is anything included in the school plan regarding that?
Did not the street as a whole where the intersection hits and where they may have to widen. I will say that it may have to have something done to it, and we'll wait for the engineer's fully engineered plan before we get an answer back to you on that.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Mike about that then. Was that?
He won't have anything yet until the school submits its plan and everybody goes over that aspect of it. So that's going to be some months down the road, but we can update you on that later.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Okay. Any more questions for Eric? We're going to leave this up to Diane to talk about MPCA for a second, if she has anything for MPCA.
Alas, MPCA meeting is actually tomorrow. I'm sorry, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Is the next meeting. So between the last meeting and this meeting, there was just general reporting by chairs of different committees, and just the next upcoming event really is the Minerva Flora and Arts in the Park. So there was no other significant discussion. And, you know, the MPCA has been getting out the directories to people, or we'll be sending out emailing PDF, electronic versions of the directory for those who prefer that. And that is winding down this week, by the way.
Did you say the meeting? Did you say the MPCA meeting is tomorrow night as well?
Wednesday, sorry, Wednesday.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
a day off in my.
Yeah, that's the last one I have to, that's the last Wednesday I have to work for the foreseeable future. So I can begin attending again after this.
All right.
Do they have their meetings in person or are they Zoom meetings?
We're Zooming.
You're Zooming?
Zooming.
Okay. Anybody got any more questions for Diane? Okay, I'm gonna do mine. Unfortunately, I can't say that I have nothing to report, so I'm gonna make mine quick for you guys. We still have the rapid COVID tests. They are free to anybody that needs or wants them. We have probably close to 400-ish. So anybody that needs one or thinks they may need one, stop in, get them anytime between 9 and 3, Monday through Friday. Pool memberships, we are accepting pool memberships at this time. We do not have any information from Franklin County as to exactly how we're going to have to operate this year, or if we're going to have any rules or restrictions. Many people have asked whether or not we're going to limit the pool memberships. The answer is yes, more than likely. And then are we going to have to do the sign up genius? All I can say is I hope not, because that was a headache. But if we have to in order to get the pool open, we will. He had mentioned John, our new code enforcement officer. I think he's going to be great. So far, so good. And he's not angry with everything that I've given him already. So I think we're off to a great start. We have somebody that's on planning and zoning. Lisa has gotten, I believe, 200 trees being delivered, or we're going to get them. I'm not sure. Next weekend, I think is it this weekend, Tony? Do you remember? Is it this weekend they're planting them? Friday, Saturday, Sunday-ish? Is anybody?
I know. I'm volunteering maybe, depending on when she's doing them. So she's still, it'll be Friday, Saturday, and or Sunday. Depending on weather and the shape of the trees. So,
Awesome. So just for, anybody that wants to know, they are planting about 150 to 200 trees some point in time this weekend.
And
The,
they're all native trees, I'm sure. They're not like, from China and Asia and Africa and
we ordered awful ones just for you.
all right. I figured.
No,
Red
just kidding. They're
Red
whatever
maple.
belongs. And then just as an FYI, and I'm gonna be a brat for about 30 seconds on here. We did order the little dog doo-doo thing that has the bags, and it was a great thing. And I was planning on ordering a couple more, and at this point I'm out. I'm not ordering anymore because somebody is destroying it, and every other day we've had to re-roll them because somebody's decided to destroy it. I hate to say that, it's too time consuming. We tried to do something nice. We tried to do it. We're not gonna be able to put the bags in there because it's just a
It
waste of
hasn't been
village money.
destroyed.
What?
I said it
Kevin?
hasn't been destroyed. You just pull all the bags out.
Yeah, it's a waste of money. So the trash can's gonna
Oh, yeah.
remain, but yeah, the trash can's gonna remain. We're not removing it, but I think the whole point to it is convenience for people, and unfortunately, people have to ruin it. This has not happened once, it's not happened twice, it's literally happening constantly. And it's just a waste of money. So, yes, it will stay, but you're still gonna have to bring your own bags. But again, we really wanted to put a couple throughout, and I have a hard time wasting village money. And people that are destroying it or renting it for everybody else, maybe we'll try it again later and see what happens. So that was my little fit for a second because it's disappointing. We have ordered, what's that?
Did you have any success in finding individually dispensed bags?
So that is going to be the next step. I will tell you, they're much more expensive to do it that way. But we're trying to see if we can get some. And the other part is we could literally pull them apart and shove them back in. But again, you're talking an hour to do that. So, we were trying to find some different ways to make it work. And it's just unfortunate that we have to try to find a way to make it work. It's disappointing. We have ordered some park benches, or not benches. We've ordered some picnic tables. We've ordered some additional trash cans from planning and zoning. That was some of the things that they had wanted to move forward, getting some of these areas done, and that has been done. So we will continue to order more things as we see fit, but honestly, I'm really just trying to do trial and error type things, try to get different material for the park benches and or the picnic tables to see what's sturdy, what holds up, instead of ordering 5 of the exact same thing and realizing it's not exactly what we want. So once the picnic table comes in, which is going to be this week, we'll see how we like it. If people like it, we'll get the same type. And if we don't like it, we'll try something different on the next one. So that's kind of the plan right now. So all that's been done. And you guys just tell me what you like and what you don't. Simple as that. And we're going to move. Anybody have any questions for me? All right. Let's go to committee, David McNamara.
All right. So, Madam Mayor, members of the council and community, I am addressing us on the community committee. We have a meeting tomorrow evening at 7 p.m., which I would like to have streamed if anybody would like to listen. The discussions are going to be the potential use of TIF funds in the future for projects on the lake remediation. I would also like to begin discussions on the Mary Yost Plant Fund, which I know was discussed a little bit last year, but then COVID happened and it kind of fell by the wayside, on beautification by the use of native flowers and other plants. The thought that I had predominantly was some small native plants that would require, next to no care after establishing themselves around the entrance signs to our village, or maybe around the community building once it's, rebuilt or modified, or however we end up, however that ends up working out. Those are the two major things. So everybody is welcome to attend, but outside of the pool stuff beginning to be accepted, I don't have anything majorly to update at this point.
I just wanted to ask Leah, do you know how much is left in the Mary Yost Fund? Because I believe they spent some honey tree?
Don't know. I would have to look that up, but I can get that for you tomorrow if you'd like.
Okay.
If possible, I'd greatly appreciate it.
And I will
Um,
tell you, it was very minimal that we spent last
Okay,
year.
I thought it was a nicer tree than that. I thought it was bigger, but,
Nah, I mean, I don't feel like we spent more than 1,000. I don't even,
well,
yeah.
that's a bigger tree, $1,000 for
No,
a
I
tree.
mean, I'm thinking it's really
That's
not even
bigger.
that much. No more than that. Yeah,
I think maybe it was 400 or 600. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure, just in case they had, I mean, it's there to be spent on that sort of thing. I just didn't want David to be thinking it was the original $20,000, but it went down a little bit. I just don't know.
Yes.
I just don't know.
I'm not sure that even I could come up with a way to spend $12,000 or $20,000 on native plants for a
I
village
could.
entrance signs.
I'd be glad to.
Need a couple of trees.
I would love to have that job. Okay, so.
So would I, honestly.
So the other thing was, I just wanted to say, as far as the community goes, that I know we didn't have a lake cleanup, but I did go out and post on Facebook when I cleaned up some trash, and then I was gratified that other people also, because spring cleaning is, of course, it's the biggest mess in the spring, as you can tell from the highways around here that they've been cleaning up. But anyway, there are a number of other people that clean up around the creek and the pond areas, and just because there's people watching that, I just wanted to thank everybody who, on their own initiative, went out and picked trash so around the Minerva Park. So I'd like to thank everybody who did that.
Yeah, and we will discuss the I'd also like to discuss a date for another, village-wide lake cleanup in the meantime as well. Got to keep things moving and making progress on those lakes. It's even small progress is good progress. So everybody's welcome to attend tomorrow. I hope to see you.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, we're gonna skip finance. As Leah said, we do have a finance meeting next Monday at 5:30. So let's go straight to Joe for streets.
Street meeting at 7 o'clock Thursday.
Awesome.
See you then.
Okay. And then let's go. Anybody got any questions for Joe?
Is that why you dragged me today?
Do you know, does anybody know if there was any other potholes anywhere? Has anybody seen anything?
That's Service Road.
I'm amazed.
I'm sorry, Tony, go ahead.
I haven't seen any.
There are still a few smaller ones on that service road near the Korean church, near the Ponderosa and 161 intersection, but if I saw right, the most major one has been repaired.
Yeah, some of that road is ours right in front of there, and then as you get further down, it's not, but it's one of those things that if it needs done, it should just, even if it's a little bit out of our range, I hate to say this.
I
If
know.
it's affecting us, do it.
I would walk 10 feet with a wheelbarrow of asphalt. That wouldn't bother me.
I agree. Okay, so
Well-
let's go to communications. Diane.
Okay, as far as communications, just we'll have this in the next newsletter as well. I know 86 people so far have signed up for the mass texting that the village has put in place. That's for Mayor Hughes to use for important or last minute announcements, like for example, truck blocking a road, or not police related postings, but just village things that village alerts that the mayor thinks are important enough to text. So we just initiated that, and I think, Mayor Hughes, do you have it posted any place else what the phone number is to join? Yeah, we haven't done that yet. Like on the website or anything?
I don't know if it's on the website, but if it's not, I will get it on there tomorrow.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
that's a good thing to put on there.
So that's something we have to opt into.
Yes.
Yes, you opt in. You text the phone number and you type in the word Minerva, and you're opted in.
Mhm.
So not
it's-
required,
Right.
just if you want to.
And
So
if you
we've
get
got that.
annoyed, it's
Sorry.
just as easy to opt out.
Just as easy to opt out. Exactly. You can opt out if you don't like it. So, and then, so we've researched other software as well, but have not jumped on anything at this time. The newsletter will contain the police report as per some residents' request. So we'll start including that this time. Any other feedback on the newsletter for the village or for MPCA is if you want to email myself, councilperson, or you can email directory@mpca.org if you're on the MPCA side. So I will set up another communication meeting, but I will email everybody. We'll do it later in the month. That's it.
Awesome. Any questions? For? All right, let's go to Tony, safety.
Well, we haven't had a meeting recently, so I have nothing to report. Other than, waking up today to another police shooting in Minneapolis. And, that's the thing that I want to start having a discussion with our police is, our policing policies and procedures. There was a guy, got pepper sprayed. There's two different incidents that I saw this morning. So, I'm going to, start the conversation, I think, in our next safety committee and see what we're doing to try to address this situation. I know there's a program on PBS tomorrow night at 9:00 about police and trying to, I forget how they described it, bridge the divide or something like that. But for those people listening, I am going to start the conversation about our police policies. And Chief,
Yes.
like I had said, I'd like to come in and talk with Chief about this. I don't know if I can do that tomorrow, but I'll let you know for sure when.
Okay.
And I guess the one question I'd like to ask, I guess, Chief, and get prepared is, do we have a policy, a written policy as to how a police officer should conduct himself in a traffic stop? I mean, is there a written policy for that, Chief?
Well, there's written policies about professionalism and, just employee conduct in general, but nothing specific because every traffic stop is a little different. So you can't have a policy that would be just a blanket policy for something like that. But we do have professionalism standards and expectations.
It does seem like a
I
good
know this is a
idea to have, I'm sorry, Tony.
Well, I would say that it's, it's a topic that if anybody had the answer to this, they'll be a genius. And I don't pretend to have any idea of where to head exactly, but I know we do need to take on this conversation and see where it leads.
And Tony, I will just say, from having been on safety from last year, some of these conversations were had last year, but I would agree they're a conversation that probably needs to just happen every year, if nothing else, just to have all parties involved remind themselves of expectations. That's never a waste of time.
To keep things that are happening elsewhere from happening here is, I guess, what I would think.
Exactly. I mean, some of these things I see on TV, I just don't know what the officers are thinking. It's like, I mean.
Well, I think that is because it's hard to, I think it's hard for citizens, myself included, to, that policing experience is so specific to policing, it's so different. And the encounters and the interactions are so specific, and I think it's, when you say walk a mile in my shoes, it's hard. I think it's just really hard. I can imagine myself being a truck driver and I'd probably get it about 80% right. But if I imagine myself being a police officer in a particular circumstance and how I would behave, I would probably be about 10% right. It's just different. And how to bridge that communication between, you know, how citizens perceive policing, especially in hindsight, which is always there. It's not easy. I do think if I know that when I was on I don't know if I wasn't on safety committee, but at one time we voted a couple years ago. I think it was before Chief Delp probably, but we voted on whether there should be, because I thought there should be a citizens commission or safety committee or commission. I think Columbus just voted for that. Now, it's not always a popular thing with police departments, but I think whether you call it citizen oversight or just concerned citizens group that gives feedback to the police and meets with them quarterly or whatever, I think it needs to be more than just one council person talking to the chief. I just think it needs to be more participative if it's to be more effective.
Well, we'll start with one council committee and start off there and see where it leads us.
So this is a question that I'm not aware of the answer to. Where I grew up in Lima, the city police would offer ride-along programs for people over the age of 18 who were interested in seeing how that worked. Is that something that Minerva Park Police offers or would ever consider offering for interested parties who want to, you know, get a better, closer understanding? Because I know that I would feel more qualified sitting on the safety committee to have had that experience once or twice. I feel that it make people more well-rounded.
Yes, we do ride-alongs. We also do, you know, criminal backgrounds on the people that want to do ride-alongs, so that you know, we make sure we're not training bad guys. But yeah, and I would encourage any of the councilmen who'd like to come out and do a ride-along. Come out on a Friday night and see what happens on the streets. I think it might be eye-opening.
Yeah, I would be. Well, we'll be in touch about that some more at some point. I'm not sure
Okay.
Friday would work, but yeah, I'd be very interested in that. I feel that would help make a lot of people. What?
Did you want to do a slower Monday night?
Well, I don't know.
If I had some advice, I would tell you to go on a slower night, because the quickest thing that I'm going to say, and I know we're getting to 8:15 already. It's opened a different world for me to be able to sit in there and watch what these guys do. I have a much higher respect for police officers than I ever have. And to walk a minute in their shoes, I'm going to tell you, no, thank you. And not because of everything that's going on TV. And Chief, if I'm getting too involved in saying some of these things, but there's officers that have had to witness, you know, infant babies in accidents, and, you know, a 10-year-old, one of our officers, or maybe it was an 8-year-old that ran across the street to help the child that had gotten hit by a car that passed away. Our officers do a lot more than what, you know, I understand we want to talk about police, you know, some of the negative things that happen, but some of the things that I know for a fact that our officers have done, and then they have to go home and see their 8-year-old and realize somebody else that just lost one as they tried to save them. We don't have any idea what these guys go through. And I think sometimes trying to throw stones and trying to tell a police officer how to act and how to do and how to all of that kind of stuff is a little bit of a smack in the face. Now, I'm not in disagreement with, you know, asking questions and doing different things like that, but I have the utmost respect for all of our officers and our chief, and they do a phenomenal job day in and day out. And there may be times in which not everybody agrees with every single thing that they do. I also think that there's a point that some residents have asked to start seeing, you know, exactly what our police department's doing, you know, whether it's taking guns off the street, drugs off the street, how many speeding tickets we're doing, what is, you know, some of that kind of stuff. So I have asked for that stuff to start to be put back in there, but I don't want to go on a long rant or rave, you know. I wouldn't walk 1 minute in any one of their shoes from the things that I see in there on a daily basis.
Oh, absolutely. One of my absolute best friends was was deputy sheriff for a few years. Hearing his stories. I mean, I get it. I just love to see how we do it here.
Right. Oh, and I think it is. I think it would be great to go on a ride along with one of them. And again, I don't think I could go on a ride along with one of them for an hour. So I see it. I see enough. So, but again, I don't want to, Tony, I know you want to talk to him and schedule a meeting, which is great. Let's get that done. But I know we've got a lot of legislation and I don't want to cut anybody short. So if anybody does have anything that they want to say or ask, go for it. And then let's get on to legislation. All right. Mark?
Okay, well, we have not had another legislative meeting since last council, so there's nothing to report from committee. We do have one on the 26th already scheduled for 6 o'clock before council. So far, the only thing I have seen to put on the agenda for that is Councilperson McNamara's idea for a native plant resolution, I would say it would be, not an ordinance.
Yeah.
Because we're not changing code, we're just making suggestion. If anyone else has anything else they would like to talk about in legislation, of course, just let me know before then. Meeting's at 6. I think everyone on council knows I welcome all members, particularly since anything that gets discussed in legislation is just going to have to go through the whole council anyway. And with saying that, I will get right on to reading our 14 legislative items that we have on the docket for this evening.
Sorry.
That's all right. All right, starting with Resolution 2020-06, a resolution declaring a decommissioned police cruiser.
Uh-oh. Did he?
Tiffany, did you start saying something there?
I did, and I lost all my internet. It's unstable. So if you lose me, Diane, take over. Somebody take over.
Okay.
Okay.
It just keeps saying it's unstable.
You can do it.
All right. So I think I'm good.
Okay. As I was saying, 2021-06, a resolution declaring a decommissioned police cruiser as surplus property and authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to dispose of the property by sale and declaring an emergency. I believe they want to pick it up tomorrow, which is why we're doing it as an emergency. I assume this is being sold to another community who can't afford a new police cruiser and is willing to take our used one.
Yes.
Just for the record, that looks like, okay, the sale price, $8,000 is what you're saying? 75. Okay, in the thing, it says a price of $8,000 and then has 7,500 in parentheses in the actual ordinance.
Jesse, can we fix that tomorrow?
Okay, we'll just say officially for the record
It is.
that the price of sale is 7,500 and the text will be amended to match that.
Yes.
I move to waive the third reading.
Excuse me.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded.
Okay. And Councilperson Brugger,
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson Curl.
Aye.
And Councilperson McNamara.
Let's get that money.
All right.
All right, having waived the third reading, I will now move to pass as an emergency.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Anyone want to discuss? All right, looks like we're roll calling.
All right. Councilperson Brugger,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
Let's get the money.
No,
Councilperson
let's
Curl,
say, I'm sorry, let's say aye. Let's be official.
Aye, okay, aye.
All right.
Councilperson Curl.
Aye.
All right, we are good to go on that, and we will get that taken care of tomorrow.
That doesn't translate well in the minutes, David.
No.
All right.
That's not a yes, no, or a maybe.
That's a, Yeah, so
All
what
right,
you're
moving
saying.
on to resolution 2021-07. Resolution authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into contract with A&J Asphalt to replace the asphalt path in front of the lake at a cost not to exceed $16,500. This is only our second reading, so it has been read. I don't believe we need any hurry on this,
No,
correct?
there should be new documents that show, did you get the new thing?
I did. I'm looking at the new packet that I got emailed just today.
Then that's my fault. Okay. Do you have the the actual legislation?
Yeah. I'm looking at the packet that got sent out this afternoon as the
Why did
revised.
it not? Okay, so apparently I did not save it. It is supposed to be done as an emergency and waive the readings if we want to get this done in May.
Yeah, we did talk about that in the work
We
session.
did, but yeah, I was looking at this and
I
saying.
gotcha, I gotcha.
Is it not in there?
It is not in there, no.
We talked about doing it as emergency because of the safety issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the one that
I remember
actually
all that.
saved all of
I'm
the
just
stuff.
reading what was sent to me in the packet today.
No,
I'm
I
going-
saved everything in the
We're
common
just trying
drive.
to trip you up, Mark. Just
I
trying
am.
to.
Can't phase
Okay,
me.
so can we amend the?
Well, I
You
would
wanna-
imagine since waiving the readings, a motion from the floor as is passing as an emergency, it doesn't
Yeah, and then
necessarily.
we'll adjust
have
it
to be
tomorrow.
The original resolution. Because we can always say no, and that doesn't change the resolution at all.
Okay.
Is that correct, Jesse?
That's correct.
Yay. Okay, well,
We're
as we want to
learning
get.
so much.
As we want to get this done quickly so we can prevent people from tripping and falling over the uneven junky sidewalk as it is now, I move to waive the third reading on this.
Second,
Moved and seconded.
All right. Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger,
Spend that money. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Diane. Aye.
Councilperson
Also,
Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
aye.
Councilperson Benedetti.
aye.
I thought you were going to say something different, David. Like a new word.
Oh, no way. Come on, cut it out.
We have waived the third reading on this, so I move to pass this as an emergency.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right,
All
let's
right.
call the roll.
Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson Bruger,
Aye.
Councilperson Shrimp,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
Aye.
and Councilperson Benedetti.
aye.
Awesome. Okay, I'll get that adjusted. It's adjusted in the common drive, so I'm not sure why it's not in there, but it is fine. We will get it added to the website.
All right, a resolution, resolution 2021-08, a resolution authorizing and approving the mayor and fiscal officer to sign a contract with Flock Safety to install, to install Flock cameras at a cost not to exceed $6,000. This is the second reading. These are the cameras that capture license plates and such that are only available the data to the police, and I believe notify them if, someone with a warrant or what have you is caught on film.
Correct.
And that's the second reading, and it has been read. And that is someone who lives nearby but not in the village, happy that pool passes are on sale. All right, resolution 2021-10, a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of a contract with Flowline LLC for inspection, cleaning, and video recording of certain sewers. We do this, throughout the year. We're on a schedule. The cost is currently at XX because we don't know which ones we're going to put onto that. This is just a second reading, and it has been read. Next, we have resolution 2021-11, a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of a contract with Resources International, Inc. for a pavement condition assessment of the village streets. This, I believe, is our second reading of this. Cost not to exceed $11,000 for those of you watching at home. They will go around, look at the streets, see which ones need repair, give recommendations for how to repair them, and even estimates to the best of their ability of what it would cost to repair said streets. Second reading, and that has been read. Resolution 2021-12, a resolution authorizing and approving the execution of a contract with Flowline LEC for inspecting, cleaning, and videoing according to certain sanitary sewers. This is the second reading for this, same as for the storm sewers, but for the sanitary sewers, still no price firmed in on that.
And I'm expecting no more than 15,000, but of course I've been wrong before. And we were hoping to have it by tonight's meeting, but they have not been able to get it all to us. So we will obviously not read it again until we have the amount, but we are expecting it. The other part to that is that's what Thursday night is for, to go over those three things and make sure that that committee does in fact want to move forward with that.
All right, thank you very much for that. Anyone else with any discussion or questions on that? Moving right along. A resolution 2021-13, a resolution pursuant to 5705 and 1900s A, Ohio Revised Code, declaring the necessity for and submitting the question of a renewed tax levy for purposes of providing for the current expenses of the general fund of the Village of Minerva Park. This is a first reading, and unless you guys are trying to trick me up again, it can just be a first reading, correct?
That's it.
Okay, it's a first reading. And for those of you listening at home, if and when this all passes, that just puts it on the ballot. All of these about this levy are just to get it on the ballot, where no one obviously cannot renew a levy on our own.
And these are renewal levies, not
Yes.
new levies.
These are all renewal. None of these are new. We have let some of our levies lapse over the past year, but we need to keep on to some of them so we can keep the lights on.
Read our lip, no new taxes.
But we are going to keep some of the ones we have. Resolution 2021-14, a resolution to proceed with placing the issue on the ballot for a renewal tax levy for the purposes of providing for the current expense of the Village of Minerva Park. Same situation. I don't know why we need two of these, to be honest. I'm sure there's a very easy reason to explain it. One does one thing, one does another.
Yes.
Yeah, and Mary, you want to give a quick 30 seconds on that?
Nope, I just know that that's what we've always done. And that's what we do. Sorry, I would love to.
Leah, do you want to give a quick 30 seconds?
Basically, one is for the necessity of the levy, and the second one is just putting it on the ballot. That's just the process.
Okay, so we have to say, look, we really need this, and we passed a resolution saying we really need this, and then we can.
Now, we also need to know how much. We have to ask the county how much the assessment will bring in revenue. We need to have that when we file. To put it
We've
on
already
ballot.
passed that one. We've already received the numbers. And so that's why we have these two pieces of legislation. We received the numbers back from the county, and those
Okay.
are on this legislation tonight.
They are in this, okay,
Yeah, that was the legislation we did last month.
right,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so coming down to resolution 2021-15. A resolution appointing Brady Oxender and Diane Shrimp, excuse me, as the village designee for the Tax Incentive Review Council and Commission Reinvestment Authorities. This is a first reading. I don't see any need to move it along. I believe this is where we were told we were supposed to be meeting with some people to talk about the TIF money in the new area, and needed two representatives from the village to do that, correct?
Yes, and the only thing I want to say about that is thank you to everybody that did offer. I just took the two people that had sent that I knew had flexibility and all that kind of stuff. So, but thank you to everybody that did volunteer and offer to do it. And yes, it's just something that we do every year. It should take like an hour to go over the TIF funds with the auditor and 7 other members. And yeah, that's what that's for.
There you go. So Diane and Brady, thank you for volunteering for that. Okay, resolution 2021-16. A resolution, excuse me, appointing the fiscal officer as the village designee for public records training. That is pretty self-explanatory from the title, actually. We're gonna get some public records training on our fiscal officer. First
And that's
reading.
just because it hasn't been updated. Simple as that. Leah's been doing it, but it's a document that we just thought, why not update it and get it fixed?
Awesome. All right, and then we have ordinance 05-2021, an ordinance to amend section 204 and 1/10 of the codified ordinances regarding the emblems and symbols of the village. This is just saying if someone wants to change our flag or, make major signage or symbol changes, it has to actually be approved through council. This is a third reading, so I will move to approve.
Can I, just a little discussion first here? So I'd just like to point out that I'm not in favor of this. For anybody else that's not in favor of this, I'm not voting for it. So just give you a heads up.
What?
I
I'm
think
sorry,
it's-
which resolution is this again? I had a bit of a brain fart for a moment.
This is the
It's
one
the
that
one
says
where we're
any.
talking about having to have it.
Oh, go ahead, Tony.
It's the one where we have to get it approved. You have to have, citizens' comments to change the letterhead on our stationery or the lettering on the maintenance vehicle or the logo on the police cars. It really only applies to those three things. We really don't have a logo and the flag, which is the other thing I would mention, that if you're attempting to make the language match the flag that we have flying on the flagpole, it's not the way it's described in this piece of legislation, because the flag on the flagpole has a yellow band around it, which isn't in the description. So if we were to pass this, then the flag that we're flying isn't really the official flag as described in the ordinance. So I think this is a complete waste of time. And I wish we'd just go ahead and vote and let's not do this. But maybe I'm wrong. You guys want to create a commission to decide when we change the lettering on the maintenance vehicle. But it's creating work that we already have enough stuff to do without having to create a commission to decide if we're going to change a letterhead on our stationery or whatever. So, and like
I think I've said, yeah, we'll go to the
language
vote.
of the ordinance- Yeah, all right.
No, yeah, we'll go to vote. Everybody knows my feelings towards it, just for the simple fact that it does make things more difficult in order to change something that's simple and easy. But let's just start roll call. All right, we
Well,
had.
Diane's got something.
It has not been seconded at this point.
Sorry,
And
forgot about that.
we have people who have not yet weighed in.
I hadn't looked at this. I didn't know this was ready to be back on. This is my fault, but I thought that the last thing I remember Brian saying was he was going to work on the wording. And then, so I tabled it in my mind because I thought I would see it again before the last vote. But so I would like to I would like to move to table this. And I would like to be able to give specific feedback about it.
Second.
And just so you guys know, the reason that it was brought back is we did send it to Jesse for Jesse's updates to the language for that purpose. So to do, just to make sure that it was worded correctly the way that for the way that it was supposed to be worded for what they were trying to accomplish out of it. Did I say that right? But it was sent to our law firm just so it was worded correctly for the way they wanted it. Yeah, okay, yeah, you get what I'm saying. All right, tabled. Do I need the first, second, all in favor?
All those in favor? Aye.
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 Okay. All right, so we're back to table for the meeting minutes.
Ordinance 06-2021, an ordinance to make supplemental appropriations for the current expenses of the Village of Minerva Park for the year of 2021. These are for what again, Mayor Hughes?
I'm looking. It is. I should know this off the top of my head. Hang on. $16,500 is the sidewalk, in which we just passed for that. So, that is to increase that. And then the other personal services and contractual services and all of that is for the code enforcement. The way that we've rearranged code enforcement, that is to rearrange code enforcement.
All right.
And FYI, this is the second reading, so I only want to point this out for the record, that in the event that the Streets Committee wants to move forward on flow line and all of that kind of stuff, this document may change again if we need like road money or any of those projects to match that legislation if the money's not already appropriated, which I don't know that any of those are, but I could be wrong. So this document could change one more time before the third reading, as just an FYI. But I did not want to do that in case people don't want to move forward on them.
Gotcha. So our standard, we're going to do a project, we need to appropriate the money for it. And this one in particular, sidewalk and code enforcement officer.
Yes.
All right. Ordinance 07-2021, an ordinance to accept MI development reserve areas and declaring an emergency.
So why are we declaring an emergency? Or is it
Because
not time?
you're accepting a piece of ground. It's a conveyance. We don't want anyone to interfere with the, obviously with the.
Why are we, okay.
Land.
And this is only the second reading of it, and I don't see here where we need to waive the third, so on passage or Eric.
Okay, wait. Which one are we on? 07?
07.
Okay.
Were there screaming children somewhere? a moment
Yeah, I
ago?
apologize for that. That was my daughter. I apologize.
Everywhere.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't imagining it.
Nope. I'm sorry about that.
It happens to the best of us. If I had any kids, I'm sure they'd be as loud as I am. So,
All right, so that was a second reading. Are we good with that?
Second reading.
All right, moving on. Ordinance 14-2020, an ordinance to accept MI development reserve areas and declaring an emergency. This, I believe, is the final, yes, because this is the 26.74 acre. All that stuff. And it looks like we need to fix.
Yes, we do. I just saw that.
Okay.
It was tabled and that needs adjusted for today's date if you guys do pass it.
Gotcha. And this is everything except for the little exemptions that were in the one before it, which are the exemption carve-outs. That is only the second. This is for the rest of it that we have already said is fine. This is a third reading. And I am going to move that we pass this as an emergency.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right, looks like we're at a roll call vote.
All right. Councilperson Bruegger,
Aye.
Councilperson Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilperson Curl,
Aye.
Councilperson McNamara,
aye.
Councilperson Shrimp.
Aye.
All right, we are
Aye.
good to go on that.
Diane, wait a minute, Diane, what do you got? Come
I
on, Diane,
don't,
what
you
do
know, yeah, this, I just didn't like Eric's explanation of what an emergency is for. I just find that offensive, but
Not offensive, man. We can go into detail, and legal counsel's here. We typically don't want a referendum land that we want to go ahead and accept, especially if it messes up any conveyance or title issues And that's a perfectly legitimate reason to pass things by emergency within the government entity.
Oh, I'd have to disagree. I mean, kind of with Diane on. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but.
All right, that then ends our legislative agenda. And I will move us
That
to
was
new
14?
business as Tiffany is finishing writing things down. Anyone with new business?
Who said new?
New business.
New business.
No, I don't have any new.
I have a very brief thing. I remember we were talking about that pipe that, goes to an unknown location. It was brought up to me that we could, if it's a mapping issue, I have some links to the Franklin County engineer. I'd be happy to try to get in touch with them, get some older maps, see if that might help, unless that's already been thought of. Other than that, that's all I have.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of our engineer, but I'd like to think that he's looked at that.
I
And-
would
and
figure
it's, you know,
so.
Well, we'll ask in our we'll talk about that in our street meeting.
All right, cool. And if
Because
not,
there has been
I volunteer to dig around with the
World War-
Franklin County engineer.
They're the ones with all the
Oh.
historical, really old stuff.
Well, a lot of our documents have been lost, the older ones. But
Hey,
All right, old business? Sorry, I don't mean to take over the meeting or anything, but
No, I was writing down the things that need adjusted.
I'm not sure
old
what you're
business.
doing, but
We are able to sign the contract with Mad Scientist, and I'm meeting with them over the next couple days to go over a couple. Tony, we had talked a little bit about that other area where that picnic table is going to go right across from the lily pond. So we're going to meet with them to find out if they can do that little area also this week. So Lisa and I will be meeting with them, and hopefully we can get moving on that lily pond.
are you talking about doing weed killing?
Yeah.
Where the picnic table is one?
I don't know that I don't know what we're doing there, but yes, we're having them look at it. And then the other area was the area that we wanted to put in, I'm going to say sunflowers. I know it was multiple things, but sunflowers and that we were looking at that little area also to see what we would need to do to prep that area. So yes, we're going to be talking to Mad Scientist about that. And that's it. I don't have anything else.
Move to adjourn. Seeing our president isn't here, I'll step in.
There you go.
Am I out of line?
All
second,
those in favor?
Aye.
Second.
Aye.
Actually, I don't think anybody seconded it.
I did.
There
Second
you go.
again.
All right. All right. Good night, guys.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Night.
Buenas noches.
Bye.